concept.
All right,
Yeah.
we're here today to do post-traumatic slave syndrome and a host of other things that he's going to touch on. That's the first question.
Yeah. All right, Black.
In the past weeks,
Uh-huh.
on the table, they've been talking about if the black man could be the devil, right? And they said that he can only be the devil's advocate. So I want to know your take on it.
It said now what again now?
Yeah. They've been arguing about, can the black man be the devil?
Uh-huh.
And they said, no, he can't because he can only be his advocate.
He can only be the devil's advocate because after being stripped of a thorough knowledge of self, he's going to act like his slave master.
Right, yeah.
So he can be the devil's advocate. That's not saying the black man won't do no evil.
Right. So basically that means that by nature he's trained. He might be trained that way by nature. You can train a cat, you see what I'm saying, to swim, and a dog to climb a tree. But don't necessarily mean it's the original origin of the nature. So, that particular concept and all, for the mere fact that we have been here for almost 400 years and still haven't committed the atrocities against the Europeans as they did for us, let us know in actuality that even in our most deepest subconscious mind, we behave different. You see, yeah. So that's one aspect of that. Yeah. Give me some questions. Glad to be back here in Harlem.
I have a question.
Yes, sir, brother.
Yeah.
Considering the topic of being a post-traumatic slave syndrome, what would be the symptoms that we can see in our people on the, outright, as far as that traumatizing effect upon our people?
Or what we can basically see. I mean, you could just, naturally behavior, appearance. I mean, it could be, take for instance, they had this guy that broke in this house last week broke in this house in a black guy, young guy, 24 years old, that went to this white woman, and I think she was 95 years old, and he asked her for some water and then raped her repeatedly, cooked some dinner and all of that. Now, anybody know anything about rape? Rape has a lot to do with power. So after they commit that act, they don't necessarily enjoy it as much more than they do the actual power. But for the mere fact that this guy raped her repeatedly, that means that he was actually turned on. So we've gone down to that particular level of psychological conditioning where you could have these types of things that's going on. I mean, a 95-year-old woman, black or white, I mean, how can you even get turned on? So obviously you're still talking about a form of post-traumatic syndrome, slavery syndrome, that would create this type of monster to do something like that now, and basically it's, the more and more the society gets that we don't have certain cultural laws to guide us, these things happen. Let me give you an example about cultural laws. We're not necessarily talking about the African laws, but we had certain things set up prior to post-slavery. We had certain laws and certain cultural things that we had put together post-slavery, mainly out of segregation, that in so many words, it was a cohesiveness that taught us how to behave. Things that happen, but we talking about 30 years, going there almost 40 years prior to, desegregation, and now these laws are actually breaking down. These cohesive laws that we used to have, not written laws, but certain things we just didn't do based on certain things in the community that was set up that way. Now we're talking about 40 years prior. Those cohesive laws are breaking down every day. We're losing more and more people based on those particular laws. So therefore you would have this type of niggers gone wild.
That's right.
If you want to say some stuff like that, no.
We had that.
But then, so what we're talking about here is, it goes into the same thing about assimilation. Whereas you would have W.E.B. Du Bois said, well, you know, we're trying to integrate, but what are we integrating into?
That's right.
You know, this is right before he died, when he really, you know, saw what was going on after years of even thinking that that was a part of it himself, that it's supposed to be this assimilation. But see, what happens here is we are the only people that assimilate. So we're still talking that particular post-slavery traumatic syndrome, but as we go on and on, those particular things that we had set in place was cohesive. Let me give you an example. In the 1970s, it was common for the European, if they wanted to get a certain platform to pass or to be looked on as legitimate, they would make sure that they would get the black community in it. Because we set the moral standard in America at a certain time. They knew that, you know, certain black people gonna do a certain thing with a certain behavior. So that's how powerful our pre-slavery behavioral pattern was, based on segregation. So they understood if we wait about 30 to 40 years with you doing what you want to do, that all that cohesive behavior that was standard of great common sense behavior would erode. And as a result, you got just straight up the animal level that is going on this particular, you know. And so in so many words, what we had as in the particular aspect from 1865 to 1975 was our actual culture. And it was a culture that was birthed out of segregation, but we had a cohesiveness that worked for us. You see, so all of this type of thing, you see, they knew if they was to so-called have us to assimilate, we would be left with nothing. Because all that is eroding. You see what I'm saying? We can notice this now about little children, 2 and 3 years old, that would do certain things that we think is cute, that in my day would violate 4,000 ass whipping codes.
That's right. That's right. That's right.
And we think it's cute now. It is nothing now to say to take a little child and they draw back their hand. They could be in the mother, can't even walk, and I've seen them raise back their hand at a grown person. I've seen this happen. And we think these things are cute, so we're giving way to more things that we think is cute and all, is breeding the pathology into these monsters that we're looking at, and this starting from a young child. Whereas in our day, we had strict codes and stuff that you couldn't do certain things, and these things now, we think it's cute. You know what I'm saying? So we can see these types of things that's happening, and this is all a part of the erosion of our cohesive behavioral system that we had put together. Give me some questions right quick.
I have a question. The Honorable Elijah Muhammad said you can tell the condition of a people by its women.
Right.
Elaborate more on that.
Well, let me give you an example. What they also mean. Despite the father figure, which the European society focus on, it's all about the father. So they will tell you that in actuality, if the father's not around, you're going to have all these problems. But in actuality, anybody knows, based on matriarchy, that it's based on the sister. The sister is the most powerful aspect when it comes to the children, and the particular aspect is 90% of most people that have certain problems, you can trace that particular aspect you can trace it all the way back to the mother. And even in the society, when they have done, even in the white culture, when they have done studies on mass murderers, most of those mass murderers that they have done studies on, they had some type of breakdown in the family based on the mother. You see what I'm saying? So therefore we know that this has a lot to do with when Honorable Elijah Muhammad said no nation can rise as high as his woman. You see what I'm saying? And if she is oppressed on a certain level, then you're going to have a certain amount of aspect of a society going crazy, you know, because in one type of way, desegregation breaks down that matriarchal culture that we did have in a particular aspect. So you know, it has a lot to do with everything. We'll go back and we'll elaborate on that in more. Yeah.
Dealing the post-traumatic slave syndrome dealing, how does that tie into the pimp game and the prostitution?
The pimp game.
Pimp game and prostitution.
Yeah. Basically, those are structures that actually you would have a certain amount of things that would come out of that post-traumatic slavery syndrome, and that is one of the examples of those particular things that actually came out of that. In that particular aspect. It's just, I mean, it's just thousands of things. It's thousands of things that come out of that same aspect, and that's just one of them. You know, that's just one of them on that particular aspect. But now we're glorifying it.
Sure.
We're glorifying it. Like they even had a special on TV, whereas half the rappers and stuff is glorifying this particular aspect of the whole pimp gang thing. You see what I'm saying?
The real man goes out and he makes his own money.
You see, but we also too, we know that they are promoting cultures to breed a brother getting locked down. That's the mystery, because we do know that in actuality, just like in Texas, they have locked up so many brothers in Texas until now they're starting to lock up the sisters. Why is this? Because we're talking about billion-dollar industries based on that and all, you see. So that would have something to do with it. Give me some questions.
Questions, anybody?
Yeah.
Based on all the integration going on, how can you tell if someone has a soul?
Like the white man or anybody?
Yeah, like anybody.
I don't even think that's really important in the particular aspect, because you really can't. I mean, the behavior is so bad on the earth plane now, until in actuality, we could all lump it into the one aspect, but we do know that in the long run, there will be a great separation. Like, take for instance, they just had this movie, Fahrenheit 9/11 just came. Anybody saw the movie?
Yes, sir.
Now, on one hand, we know that if Michael Moore, if the government didn't want him to put the movie out, he wouldn't have put it out.
That's right.
He been bumped off a long time, but they'd have killed him when they're making it. But that's the first aspect. But let's look at this. For the mere fact that he's even forced to put out that movie, we're looking at a major change. We're looking at something that behind the scenes is going on, where the Honorable Elijah Muhammad said, you will know the end when there's infighting amongst the elite. So for the mere fact that they got this infighting going on, there's something major happening. You see what I'm saying? Like how some of those soldiers might not ever come out of Iraq. Now they just so-called handed over reins to the government, 2 weeks ago, they gave them this thing back. But Wednesday or Thursday, they killed a governor of Mogul, a certain province of Mogul, and all. That's real major. So what you're talking about here, you're talking about them biting off more than they can handle. Now, 90% of the armed forces is either in Afghanistan or Iraq. You see? Even in Afghanistan or Iraq, that's major. 90% of the forces. And they're still over there, and they're saying that they might have to be over there for 4 years. So you're still talking about the beginning of a breakdown of a so-called country that they didn't learn from Vietnam. It doesn't matter about how much might you say you might have. You just can't go up in everybody's countries and have victory. As a matter of fact, they haven't won anything basically this century. The first 2 wars were family fights, but they lost Korea. They lost Vietnam. They didn't win Japan. They had to drop a bomb on them. You see what I'm saying? So for the mere fact that they make this propaganda and tell you they won, doesn't necessarily mean they won. So in so many words, they didn't learn from the mistakes that you can't win wars because there's something greater that goes on. You see what I'm saying? That goes on, and they can't do this. So therefore, we talk about the ending of a society where they might not be able to even come out of Iraq, period.
That's right.
And that's major. You see, that's major. You see, so it's a lot of things, but still yet, Despite that, this thing is still, don't let nobody fool you. This thing is still about us in this country.
That's right.
That's the great mystery. Like take for instance, how is it that them, when you see dialysis, they got thousands of black people on dialysis now. You go to a dialysis thing, it's like a football field. The mystery here is that they are actually shutting down the kidneys when people go to the hospital. They have the type of technology to go in and shut down your kidneys. This is long before you even have kidney problems. You see what I'm saying? They are actually shutting down the kidneys because this big business in dialysis.
That is the same thing with the asthma thing about our young children with the
Yeah,
asthma.
all of this. Not only that too, they're talking about 50% of kids the age of 10, 11, and 12 with high blood pressure.
Look at that. High blood pressure. You talking about asthma?
High blood pressure at age 10.
Yeah, but they don't play no ball. They don't do nothing.
And all, but my point here is even if they never did, it never did. The whole concept of, and this is all black kids.
Right, all
Hell,
black.
this is all black kids.
We got child
You see what I'm
asthma
saying?
that's
The white kids ain't getting it. Hell, they sitting in front of a computer screen. They're not coming down with it.
They said the roaches.
You see what I'm saying? They're not coming down with it. You see, we talking about 50% of high blood pressure with a child 10. You see, you got to ask yourself these questions. Now, when I was growing up, only way you got diabetes, you was born with it. Then all of a sudden in the 1980s, you started getting it by being overweight. Well, what about the people? So you see what I'm saying? This type 2 diabetes. This is all ingested. This is all an inception. This is all orchestrated. You see, we talking about designer disease or designer malfunctions. What's that, brother? Designer malfunctions. Give me some more questions right quick.
Any more questions? Anybody?
Yeah. Go ahead. Yeah.
I ain't got no questions, more statement. I'm just glad to see you, man, because I ain't
Yeah.
seen you in like 15, 16
Yeah,
years.
yeah, man, yeah.
Down in AUC.
Yeah, right, brother.
You know, I just don't got to say about the brother, man. He just read the newspaper, read a couple of magazines last week and decided he's going to get out here and do it. You know, as long as I've been doing it. 20 years, 18 years now.
Yeah.
He's dropping out trying to educate us.
Yeah, it's all good.
Came down to the AUC, Morehouse, and
Yeah,
stuff.
okay, yeah, yes.
He kept us on track in terms of
Yeah.
what we really down there for and what we really need to be out there trying
Yeah,
to
this is one of the brothers from back in the day, yeah.
So I'm glad to see you, man.
Yeah, it's good, man. Yeah. It's good,
Anybody
yeah.
else have a question?
Yeah, what's that? Well, number one, Dick Gregory said something. That the asthma is coming from dehydration. Most of this is we don't get enough water. Now, melanin and water goes together, you know, in the alchemical aspect. That's why most of our civilizations birth through some type of waterways, some type of rivers. Water and melanin goes. So a lot of the time and Dick Gregory talked about this, that most of the asthma we're talking about is based on dehydration. Now, then you got to ask this particular question here. 90% of processed foods dehydrate you.
Well, that's sodium.
Which is sodium. You see what I'm saying? Dehydrate you. Even in stuff that's not salty, this got salt in it. Even some sugar products.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? So we're talking about basic, that's this basic diet that it's dehydration. You see what I'm saying? We don't get enough water. One of the concepts, we don't get enough water. You see, let me give you some other examples. The book, The Matrix, the big thick books that came out, in the early 90s, Val Valerian. And this is something that happened to me recently. They said in those books that you think the TV sets are bad now, and this was 10 years ago. They said wait until the 1990s come, no, they wait until the 2000 come. What they're going to put in the TV sets are going to be devastating. Now, around 1998, 99, they came out with high definition TV. Right. Now, that technology now is going down to just a regular, any TV you get is that high definition past 2000. What this thing does is this. It scrambles the brain. These TVs are directly designed to attack the pineal pituitary gland. You see what I'm saying? So we're talking about that type of technology. A brother came from Philadelphia, a good friend of mine, bought me a widescreen TV. Said, nah, man, you got to get rid of this 19-inch. Bought me a widescreen TV, and within a week of watching it, my left eye started getting red. One day I can see, one day I can't out of the eye. I'm saying, wait, hold on. If my sight is going bad, number one, it wouldn't go bad in one eye, and number one, why is it good one day and I can't see the next day? It had nothing to do with my eyes. It has something to do with the scrambling of the pineal gland and pituitary gland, which is connected, you see what I'm saying, to sight. So in actuality, it was an inner aspect that was going on. And so the high definition TV, that's why right now, if you got any TVs from 2000 on up, never watch them in the dark. That's right. And make sure there's a certain amount of light in the room. And based on how wide the screen is, if it's a big screen, make sure that you got a certain amount of length between you and where you're sitting and that actual TV, because this is war against the pineal technology. And so what this is doing here is keeping people still in a zombified state. Now let me give you another example. A brother, and some of you might have heard this on the tapes, that in the mid-1990s, brother went to McDonald's and bought a McDonald's fish sandwich. And he noticed that his lip became numb, his tongue became numb when he bought the McDonald's fish sandwich. And he understood that it was the same equivalence to when you take cocaine and put on your tongue, is the same effect he got from McDonald's fish sandwich.
Hydrochloride?
So what's happening here is, we asked this particular question, especially about crack cocaine. It was almost like some of these people took this thing for the first time and got hooked. Maybe they was predisposed to the cocaine based on the fast food. See what I'm saying? Now this is a mystery. Obviously they're trying to get another hit, because recently I went to a McDonald's and bought a fish sandwich in the black community. Bought one in the white community, didn't have this. In the black community, this was a month ago, tongue got numb and lip got numb.
So they pumping the fish with hydrochloride?
No, cocaine, man.
Itself, cocaine.
Some type of cocaine, some predisposed thing that will get you hooked on something else. Now we know that this is another run, because we remember in most of the reports of the LA riots, they said that how did the gang members get a lot of their guns? They said they just went down to the railroad track, and there was just box cars that they would wide open, and they would just go to the railroad track, and the government would take these box cars and pull them up, and they'd have all these M16 and all these guns. Now listen, recently now in Atlanta, within the last month, they got guys that's going down to the railroad tracks, and every night there's a boxcar full of guns. But then again, on the other hand, they got this one black McDonald's in the neighborhood, in the major part of the city, that's also selling these products with a cocaine base. So in so many words, they're trying to start this whole dope thing back up. You see, for the new generation of people coming out of high school or whatever type thing. You see, so we're still talking about major warfare. So I say that about the doom and gloom to tell you this. Despite them being all over the world with all the wars, there's something that is going down with us that the major powers know at this particular time right now that they're focused on. So no matter what you do and no matter what you're thinking with Iraq and all the other stuff that's going on about here, it's still about what's going on with us at this particular time, despite the behavior of black people, which is insane. Which is insane. We are the messianic people.
That's right.
You see what I'm saying? And there's a lot of groups that's jealous of that.
That's right.
You see what I'm saying? So, to divert the attention to Iraq and somewhere away from you means that you are really under attack at this particular time. And as a result, last Friday they just passed the last act of the Patriot Bill.
That's right.
That's the Patriot Bill. So in so many words, we're talking about us being the terrorists. Us being the terrorists.
In the band of assassinations.
You see what I'm saying? And people across the country, especially black men in high school, are getting charged for terrorist threats. Just by arguing in high school, that's not considered a terrorist threat. So we're still talking about the focus is still us. Fight what we think. Give me some questions right quick.
When you look at black youth today, you say that we have devolved, man, devoluted. What you were saying?
Listen to me. First of all, look. Bill Cosby spoke out a week ago, 2 weeks ago. Now, despite what you might think, he ain't said nothing that wasn't on most black people's minds. See what I'm saying? I think that in so many words, we're talking about the only way that you could even have, things based on the youth is still designed by the greater government. So it's going to always be the greater government that's going to set the tone for that. You see, so that's still designed by the greater government in the particular aspect of taking people to a certain level of savagery and stuff like that. So yes, but in so many words, the youth, whatever it is, it's going to be set. The pattern is going to be set by what the government has in store for them. It's in the next whatever. You see what I'm saying? And that's based on the parent, whether it's going to be an effect or whatever the thing. Give me some questions right quick.
Anybody out here in the audience? Hold on, Cam. Anybody out here?
Yeah. And what is the real reason why they wanted to enslave black people? Because it seems there's always something else other than just labor.
Good question. Good question.
The real reason is this, and this is the bottom line. There's several ancient texts that understand certain things. Remember now, they study our ancient texts. They study our ancient texts night and day. Just last year alone, there was 20,000 research situations on melanin alone on the internet. 20,000. And the next year, it changes every year. So despite what we're thinking, they're still studying some stuff, but I'm going to get to the ancient part of what's going on. Now, because see, you have people like Tony Brown's Journal, if it still comes on. They paid this Negro, and it's the new thing to say that there is no difference between the races. But yet, there's 20,000 research manuals alone on melanin alone just last year, and each year it changes. So my point here is we're talking about major research that they know that they're pinpointing something of the people that they have found out that's going to be the next jump into the next phase of evolution. That's coming up out of us, despite what we think. Now, there's a guy, did you ever get Eugene Adams? There's a guy, you're going to be able to get it. Eugene Adams is a guy that wrote, did a tape on the African presence in Asia, where they had located a temple in Asia where they foretold slavery for thousands of years. And based on the slavery in this temple in China, that the messianic people coming up out of that slavery would be us. And this is what the ancient temple in Asia. And so we had a real bad tape. We had to locate this brother out of the Bronx, but we finally got access to the tape. That's one incident. There's other major texts that they have been studying over the years that tell us, and I have got some of these texts, that we are those particular people. In the aspect that certain groups, like the Jews or whatever, is jealous of that and trying to counter this by trying to make themselves the people of suffering. So we even have a people that's trying to counter that and to set themselves up as these suffering people. When we know damn well we on the bottom right now, so that goes without saying.
For sure.
But in so many words, what that means is that they have slated the person slated for the next level of evolution. You say, well, how can you say that? Look at these niggas around here, they act like they're crazy.
Yes, sir.
But you must understand the process of someone evolving. In order for you to evolve, new growth comes from putrefaction. It comes from degeneration. In order to rise, it has to be a fall. So even in scientific terminologies, if you have a people that slate is wiped out of culture, customs, and history, all right, and you have a people that slate is wiped out of all of those things, then that means that that particular person is empty in the particular aspect of the new state of evolution. It goes like this. If your sight is lost, your hearing becomes better. If your hearing is lost, your sight becomes better. You see what I'm saying? So if your brain is lost, there's a new aspect of a new brain taking over, which is called the pineal brain. The pineal is a second brain. And so the people that are slated for the new aspect of evolution, because this particular word has literally been cleared away. That means that you are the messianic people. Number one, because you're the original people. So you can just go historical on that.
That's right.
You know, we don't even have to even argue on that and stuff.
Right.
And remember, even in the movie the X-Men, especially the first one, where they talk about this evolution, they said there's a new mutation that's coming, but it takes a long time. It takes a process. So the only people that was around long enough to transmutate was the people that was here for millions of years. That just makes sense. You see, if you're going to transmutate, you would have to have been on the airplane for thousands and thousands and millions of years for the mutation process or the transmutation type process to take place. That is us. You see what I'm saying? So that's why all over the world they're wiping out the Africans.
That's right.
You see, that is one of the reasons. But the concept here is the messianic aspect has to take place, and it's taking place as we speak.
Buddha will be born
Amongst us. It is taking place as we speak. Go back and get that movie Unbreakable. The movie Unbreakable shows you that there's transmutation. Now, some of you might have this thing right now. Sometime, and you could, how many people have cut themselves? You know, you had an accident, you cut yourself, and about 2 days later, it started to heal up miraculously. This is happening. That is because there's already a transmutation going on amongst our people. But we don't know it for the simple fact that they have our minds on other things. But it is happening as we speak. Give me some questions. What's that, sister?
It's about slavery.
Yeah.
I was listening to one of the tapes of the feminization of the black male.
That's mine.
A feminization of the black male.
Uh-huh.
And that has that tape. And the brother was saying that if we don't know what slavery is, how do we know we're not still in it, you know?
Right.
And I thought that was very interesting, and I started thinking about the 13th Amendment,
Right.
which states that, you know, when you go to prison, you are in fact a slave.
Yeah.
And the fact that all of our male youth and children
Yeah.
are being incarcerated now,
Right.
which makes them slaves.
Yeah.
And once they're taken away from us,
Well, number one, we are slaves in the aspect even on a legal level, because the Bank of England buys all of our birth certificates at birth. So we are slaves based on that. First of all, I'm going to talk about this tomorrow. There was never no such thing as no independence, war of independence, or no revolutionary war. Ain't no 10 white people with no shoes on beat no British Empire. It's bullshit. We are still a part of England. I want to ask you a question. How did we have an independence from England, or they had an independence from England, when our court system is still set up under British law?
That's right. That's right. Come on with that.
You see what I'm saying?
Come on with that.
Our court system is still set up under Britain. Our educational system is still set up under Britain.
That's right.
You understand what I'm saying? Let me give you an example.
Help somebody.
3 things in this country. Number 1, the Supreme Court. Once you are appointed to be a Supreme Court justice, nothing can get you out of that seat, no president or nothing. That's your job for life. Okay? Until you resign or die. The second thing is, no matter what presidents are in that seat, the people in Wall Street never change. Alan Greenspan's job is going to be there, whether it's a Bush or Clinton or whoever.
That's right.
You understand where I'm coming from? The second thing is this, to let you know that we are living in a penal colony, because our birth certificate, your birth certificate is your serial number for the penal colony.
That's right.
If you don't believe that, have a child and don't get a birth certificate and see what kind of trouble you get into.
That's right.
Now, the second thing is this. The only other job where once they appoint you, that job is yours for life is prison warden. The only way you can do that is either resign, or the president or nobody can get you out of that job, because that's all appointed by England. You see, so this whole concept here is a penal colony.
That's right.
Even right now, you think you free because you can walk about and buy shit. If you don't consume, you don't count.
That's right.
You are the enemy. Right now, even with our people, we are now on mind control. When the less our people consume and buy things, the more we look down on them.
That's right.
So, who's to say that this is not slavery? Someone that's telling you that your religion is consumerism.
That's right.
You see, if you don't buy, you don't count. And since the 2000s, if you don't have no money in this country, you're not even considered human. You're considered animal. You see, what's that, brother?
Hey, Bobby, isn't it true that the black economy in America spends $700 billion a year in this country? It's the 5th largest economy in the world.
Behind Spain.
And we are the poorest motherfuckers on
Right.
the
So, so apparently,
$700 billion of income.
but still we're talking about a form of slavery.
That's right.
You see, a form of slavery. So you are right. Listen, in the occult technology of power, which is Illuminati handbook, and you can still get these things here. They sell them over here at Soul Brothers Boutique, have a few of them. Occult technology of power. It says in order to put a people in slavery, only thing you got to do is tell them that they are free.
That's right.
You see?
That's right.
So as soon as you tell a person they're free, you can put them in slavery. As soon as you tell a person that they are educated and give them a degree, you can fool them into thinking that they're educated.
That's right.
And education in this country is not allowed.
That's right.
Yeah. Yeah.
Think it's not allowed.
Yeah. So education is not allowed. So yeah, that's a form of slavery. Yeah.
I want you to speak to the people about the fact that constitutional law states that any descendant of a slave is not a citizen. Because our people think that they're American.
Can't hear you, sister.
Yeah. What it is this. In so many words, we was let out of servitude slavery, 1865, but they never did any ceremony to induct us into citizenship. We're not citizens.
We're not citizens.
We're not citizens.
Negroes need to stop saying
You see.
Stop using the term African American. There's no
there's
such
no
thing.
such animal.
Yeah. So we're not citizens. Number one, also too, even Whoopi Goldberg said this, and she was right. When we bought the African American term, we cut out all of the Caribbean,
Right.
all of South America,
Right.
all of Latin America, all of Africa. And this is another way to reclassify you, you see what I'm saying, outside of power. So,
to disconnect you from
right. So the concept here is when you say that, that's a political move that was put in by the government to break you down to this subclass, you see, and not be a world community. And my point here is you're still a world community. I can see if you chose to come over here, then a person can say, well, since you chose to come over here, you're not necessarily, some Europeans can't say that they are part of Europe because they chose to come over here. But a person who didn't choose to come over here, that means that you're a part of a greater global community. Because that means you are, whether you are hostage or whatever, you're still a part of a greater global community. So to call you an African American is to disconnect you from that global community and that great diaspora that we was talking about. So that's a political move, especially when you didn't ask to come over here.
Is that also part of the reason why they won't allow you to get dual citizenship and be repatriatized to Africa? Is that part of it too? Because they it's all of that. Yeah, what's that?
Are we the true Native Americans?
Yes, in the aspect of this. Now come on. The average Native American was this brother's complexion at the turn of the century. Now when you say Native American, it's some white person with a feather in his hair. So how in
blue eyes.
So how in 100 years you can become to be a white person with a feather in the hair, and the average Native American was your color. And all you got to do is just look at all the pictures from the turn of the century. We're talking about the 1900s.
What about my hair? What about the hair texture?
Well, see, all of that. See, there's a whole concept here too. Is they want to say that they came by way of Asia and the whole Bering Straits thing. That is to omit the Olmecs.
That's right.
I've heard that.
Where did the Olmecs go? What is the Olmec culture? What is the base stock of humans in this hemisphere? It was Olmec. You see what I'm saying? It was Olmec. So most definitely.
So a lot of us didn't come from Africa.
No. We have a variation of history. Some of us did, but no. To lump all of us in as African American in the particular aspect of to say African American is a falsehood. In the particular aspect of two things. Number one, all Africans who came here were not just West Africa.
That's right.
That's another trick.
That's right. So you said we was here before the white man got here?
Yes, definitely. Well, how would you constitute? How would you constitute the Olmecs? How would and Blackfoot. You see what I'm saying? So no, that's another history. That's another history that we were here, and the whole concept of not only us. So that whole African American thing is to omit. You see the indigenous black man of this particular land too. What's that?
Hey Bobby, can you talk about the white man today with his technology and how he's trying to stop the transformation of the opening of the pineal gland by polluting the atmosphere, the very rays, the cold.
Well, they're doing several things. It's more than one front. Like I just said again, high definition TV. It's right in the TV sets. Now they talking about this stuff that scrambles the pineal and pituitary gland. That's one particular way. The food, the diet, the atmosphere, the weather, and also too, one of the keys is dehydration. Let me give you an example. There was a movie came out called Cabin Fever. Go rent the movie Cabin Fever. Just came out. It was the first of the year. It just newly came on video about a month ago, 2 months ago. And this movie is about this disease that these people had. One guy fell in the water supply and everybody started getting this disease. Just to make a long story short, at the end of the movie, where they send the message, there was this disease in this small town, but it was near a mountain and a stream of water that was contaminated with this disease. And the next thing you know, the last thing you see in the movie is a big truck leaving the town to go to the cities to say spring water. So don't let nobody fool you. For them to put that in the movie, that means you got to watch out for the spring water in the future. You see? So we talking about that. So they send us messages all the time.
Bobby?
Yeah.
want to touch on one thing. One thing that I include in when I am speaking to a lot of brothers out here is about this religion and white savior thing. Where where religion alone is not going to cultivate the spirit for elevation.
Right. Yes.
You know?
First of all, to give you an example, we just went to go see Fahrenheit 9/11. A lot of brothers and sisters that was dead was coming up saying, "Oh man, did you see this movie? Fahrenheit 9/11, it's all great." And we looking at him like, "Are you crazy? We've been telling you this shit for the last 10 years.
Yes, sir.
But they had to wait till the Europeans say that this country is fucked up for them to deal with it, because when the origin of that still has to go back to that messianic image of a European savior. And that's embedded into the psychological aspect. You see, that's embedded into the psychological aspect, so that is major. That is major when it comes to Brother Big Man. Yeah. That is major when it comes to us. As a matter of fact, we can say that the basis on why we don't learn anything is because we feel that we are getting nourishment from something that is already given to us.
That's right.
Based on this damn religion.
That's right.
So if you feel that in actuality that your religion is the universal truth and your God is the universal savior, then therefore it will deter you or prevent you from looking farther into greater mysteries and even knowledge of trying to learn a better aspect about yourself. So we're talking about an even greater grip on this whole religious aspect.
Bobby, real quick, can you address can you address the government orchestrated personality that our people are displaying called a thug?
Go ahead.
I really would like to hear that addressed, because we got a lot of thugs
Right.
and it speaks
Right.
to the fact that we have sheeple and not people anymore.
Right. Yes. That's what Bill Cosby was actually saying. See, you can't get, because Bill Cosby makes millions of dollars, does that mean he's supposed to sit back and co-sign on a bunch of niggas acting like fools? He was right. And he wasn't saying no more than most black people in their community was saying about how fucked up these Negroes are out here. You see what I'm saying? Like he said, your dirty laundry get aired at 2:30 when they get out of school. So you see what I'm saying? So in so many words, he's right. That's a manufactured aspect of the whole thug life thing. It's a manufactured aspect so bad until around the world, based on satellite TV and based on the images that the only one they're going to ever let the people see outside of America, is so bad until the people in other countries actually think that that's our culture, is this thugism.
That's right. That's right.
The reason why I know, because there was two sisters came over from England in 1998. And when they came over, we was taking them around the regular black people, and they was like, these are bougie niggas. I'm like, wait a minute, you in the middle of the ghetto, what you talking about? But they was looking for what they saw on the fucking videos.
That's right. That's right.
And when they didn't see that, they got upset.
That's it.
These are two sisters from England.
Right.
Because the only thing they see is the same concept of this thug life. And that's a manufactured aspect of it.
That's right.
That's a manufactured aspect of it all. And so the concept here is now you got, see, let me explain something what's going on about the whole thug thing. Now, anybody that grew up prior to the 1980s, they understood when you went to Alabama, you saw a different kind of black person.
Right.
When you went to Philadelphia, the Philadelphia Negro was different than the New York Negro.
Right.
The Washington, D.C. Negro was different than that. You see what I'm saying? We had different type of black people all over the country, which is key, because that's how you learn, by interacting with different type of flavor.
Right, that's right.
Now you can go to Monterey, California,
Come on. Come on.
all white, and you will see black people acting like brothers and sisters from New York. If you go to Alabama now, you will see black people, there is no difference.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? So that means you have manufactured a culture,
Right.
and it locks your mind in. The mind is a multifaceted, dimensional thing. That means that it cannot function on a higher level with just one monolithic choice. It has to have variations of different types of expressions, different types of experience. So if you want to put a people in slavery, you manufacture the same person all over the country. So the European, as far as the music industry, has chosen the thug life for your children.
That's right. That's right. And that's a vehicle
right.
to go
right. Now, one thing about the thug life, no matter how you like it, being intellectually superior is not a great attribute of thug behavior. So therefore, a person can come up on a higher intellect and he can be scorned and vilified in school because he doesn't fit the criteria of a doggone thug. And that's what what's the name saying. 50% of you all can't read now. You see, that's a design behavior.
That's right.
You can design a behavior where you can take the lesser repertoire, make it fashionable,
right,
and make a whole culture out of it, and then bring everybody down to the low level.
Right.
And there won't be nothing. So when a person falls, he won't have no counterpart to look at as a model to bring himself up, because they all acting the same damn way.
All black power.
Blind leading the blind.
You see, what's that?
Bobby, I got a friend. We went on the internet. We found this white woman and this white man who said they could create a style
exactly
that black young kids will follow.
Yes.
Without asking no questions. They can make
exactly
anything they want.
Exactly. Let me give you an example.
They created the white t-shirt thing, where they had half the t-shirt on and the other half off.
Right.
We got the document.
Right.
And sure enough, 3 months later,
right,
niggas was running around here with half their t-shirt on
yeah,
and half their t-shirt off.
Right.
What about the pink?
So we still, yeah. We talking about, yeah. Also get the movie Josie and the Pussycats, came out in 2001.
That's right.
It drops all that in the movie. If you thinking a little stupid white girl movie, they deal with all that.
Right.
And the only one caught on before all of them was the black girl, and they were gonna kill her. So yeah, all of that is right on the money.
Bobby, let's hold on, black man.
Mm-hmm.
Go ahead.
Yeah.
Well, since Tupac started the whole thug life craze,
yeah.
Talk up, man.
Would you say he's to blame, or he's like far responsible?
Let's put it this way. Let me explain something to you. Let me tell you what happened to Tupac. Remember, Tupac went to prison because of the whatchamacallit. When Death Row got him out, he was going to come back and he wanted to write the next phase of conscious rap. After they had actually phased it out after Public Enemy KRS-One, he wanted to go with the next phase of it in the genre that he was dealing with, but a part of his terms of being released from prison is that he had to manufacture the thug thing. So that was a design by the government and the people who were behind the record industry.
Pushing that NWA.
You see what I'm saying? So when he got out, his hands was tied because they told him a part of his release is he got to take this music a certain way, and the thug life was born. Although he had already started it long before he went in, but they really started to manufacture that. And as a matter of fact, and that became standard for all rappers.
That's right. Now it is standard.
That is standard for all rappers.
They can't talk about it.
Yeah.
Hold on.
Yeah.
Go ahead, brother. Go ahead.
Yeah.
Y'all talking about the thugs, but I see that people who go to church,
yeah,
the religion,
yeah,
are a problem also.
Well, we're not saying, no. So what we're saying is this here.
No, my question is,
yeah,
what do you think religion plays a part of people that's mentally enslaved also?
It's devastating. It has always been devastating. As a matter of fact, in the Occult Technology of Power, which is the Illuminati handbook, they said that one thing that they will always have on the side of oppressing people is the religion. Right. So yes, that's not the answer either, and I think it's also spiritual why the government has been trying to take the religion and have it break into rap for years, but it just don't cut it. So on one hand, the thug thing is a problematic, but another thing here is spiritual, that you ain't jumping around talking about, hip-hop for Jesus, because it just don't cut it. They've had several people, as a matter of fact, your boy, your boy Mace, that was all a part of him coming out. That was a conspiracy, but the shit didn't work. And it's never going to work. And I think that's spiritual, it doesn't work. You see what I'm saying? With that indoctrination. So yeah.
Bobby, now, we done covered the hip hop aspect of the thug, but what about the R&B singers? With all this homosexuality and misogyny, you know what I'm saying? Well, and they got our young boys running around with 2 big rocks in their ears, wearing pink, and want to look like a bunch of bitches. What's up with that?
Not only that, too, it's not even just R&B. Not even just R&B. They're saying it's major prevalent in the rap industry. Big time. Big time in the rap industry. In so many words, that is the Hollywood way. That is the Hollywood way.
That's right.
As a matter of fact, that is how you are able to amass millions of dollars. Remember that these people ain't gonna give you $20 million to make a movie. You see what I'm saying? Not unless you done slept with somebody. So this thing now is going even on into the music industry. You see what I'm saying? Even on into the music industry, you see, because they cut us off from the classics. You see, there's a whole lot of things going on. Yes, so I would say, but that is the European way now, and the way of the Illuminati, because then again, on the other hand, the secret societies, that is their way.
That's their way.
You see what I'm saying? As far as you gotta sleep with this other person. You see what I'm saying? Yeah. Yeah, what's that?
In the hip hop, so in the hip hop culture, do you think that there's a lot of undercovers or overt homosexuals in the rap now?
I met a guy in Virginia I met a guy in Virginia that is real active in behind the scenes. He does a lot of the arranging and stuff, and he was saying that the only reason why he decided to stay behind the scenes because it's so prevalent. This thing is almost like a country club. That all of them sleeping with each other. You see, this thing is major. This thing is major, and especially the ones that remain on top.
Oh yeah.
They're all a part of that country club.
You're all doing the buck job.
You see what I'm saying?
So you're saying that's a prerequisite to get into the club.
To get into the club. To get into the club. You see what I'm saying?
Who got a question in the back?
Yeah.
Brother?
When you listen to the news, right? They always, you know what I mean, instead of telling you something good, they telling you about gay marriages and every minute. So subconsciously, it's going down in your mind.
Making evil fair seeming.
Not only that, you got to understand, like I was saying, with high definition TV and different things like that. Now remember now, what you have learned by getting DVD, they showed it on Laserdisc back in the day, but people didn't get the Laserdisc. What you learn about DVD is you have 3 to 4 different movies within the DVD. You can get widescreen, you get this, you get that, and it's one DVD, and you just click on a certain avenue and do that. That means they're showing you that there could be layers of something you are watching and you're watching something else. Now, when I was in New Jersey back in 1996, some brothers approached me in Newark and were saying that they had a group of guys that they thought was being manufactured into homosexuals. That means that there was something that was going on within their daily life that was turning them gay. Well, the DVD shows you that in actuality you could watch 2 great gay men having sex. But you could be watching a movie, Boys in the Hood or whatever, and up under the movie is a sexual thing going on, and then all of a sudden you got a hankering to go suck on somebody's dick. Then you figure, and you trying to figure out what's going on, because the subliminal seduction is much more powerful than what you even see with these 2 eyes. Because you were talking about the subconscious mind. You see, so not only that, it's in the music also. It's in the music also. Well, let me give you an example of what I'm talking about. I went to the AU Center down in Atlanta, Georgia. That's 5 colleges right across the street from each other. And in the late 70s, early 80s, your thing was to hook up with the women. We used to get up on the honeys. That was our shit. Get up on the honeys. Now, if you go there, you will see the guys on one side of the street hanging together and the girls on another side of the street hanging together. That meant that the rap music is telling you now that your thing is to be with your boy. Whereas when we grew up, your thing was you got your boy, but it'd be like, yo, you need to go get you some booty, nigga. So this is fostering a form of homosexuality. And you go down there, the guys got on too much clothes and the girls got on hardly nothing. But yet, these would be some of the most beautiful women in the world, and the guys don't even notice them. Because the culture in the video is they are only to be seen as objects, but they're not to be communicated with on a relationship level. You communicate with your boy on a relationship level. And that's a form of manufactured homosexuality that's coming. So they foster this stuff through the rap culture. You see, they foster that through the rap culture.
Any questions?
As well as up under that CD, they're telling you you need to fuck a man. Now the reason why we know that, we was doing a lecture in Baltimore in 1996, and there was some brothers down there that was just completing their album. They was been in the studio for a couple of months, just completing their record, and they had me to come up. And they said, well, it's interesting. They said, we're getting ready to put the finishing touch on our album next week. They said, but the whole time we've been in this studio, there was a guy down there, it was with an armed guard, with a machine gun on this door. They said, well, what's inside that room that they have a machine gun? And they went up to him, and the guy told him, oh, I'm guarding the door in the room, whereas whenever you all leave with y'all raps, they go and put some shit up under your music and give to your people. Listen what the guy told him. Whoa. So in so many words, there was another room, so you could go in and you can say, I'm gonna even do a conscious rap. And you go in and do your thing, but up under it, they done put some other shit.
And Bobby, that's why
hold up, man, hold up. No.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's why record companies will not allow the artists to master their own stuff. They always got to take.
Yes, right. If you're right. Let me give you an example. You're right about that. If you look, even if it's a black company, you would also see back in the day, you would see Motown, but it say master that Capitol, master that Sony. You see what I'm saying? The people, that's a close-knit aspect of sound engineering that they don't even let you into. So that's very key. What's that?
Would you say that the Bush administration is Al-Qaeda?
Al-Qaeda is government. No, but let me give you an example. Let me give you an example because you're gonna make the mistake everybody else made. There ain't no Bush administration, there ain't no Democrat, there ain't no Republican. You fall for that bullshit, you get it. It's not a Bush administration, it's the secret societies, and whether it's Bush or Kerry, it's gonna be the same shit. John Kerry is George Bush's cousin. John Kerry and George Bush's cousin and Skull and Bone. So you got, so my point here is this here. Mind control is, even when you say Bush administration, you've already been given a prerequisite of what you're saying. It ain't no administration. All of that shit is one entity.
Global white supremacy.
Global white supremacy. But what was your question about it?
Bush was the one that knocked down the World Trade Center.
Al-Qaeda, Colin Powell went and paid them so many $1 million in January of 2001. He went and dropped off, what, $100 million? So that they could reinforce the caves. Al-Qaeda is nothing but the United States government. You see what I'm saying? The building was imploded. The building was imploded, and you know, and if you see the building fell straight down, any type of random, if it was randomly hit, you could have any kind of disaster. Why these things was orchestrated? That was all that way. Let me give you an example. If nobody knew that this plane was supposed to hit, the first images they gave you was the shaky cameras, which are supposed to be people who just so happened to be there with cameras and watching, so they had them shaking. Spirit told me, they said, go watch HBO.
Come on.
The next year. They say, now if you see a cinematography panoramic shot of the plane crash, you know that they were waiting on it. The next year they had a clear cinematography panoramic shot. They couldn't show it the first year. They showed it the second year because the people are not alert. You see what I'm saying? But why is it that FEMA, Federal Emergency Management Act, moved in to secure the perimeter for the disaster the day before? You see, they moved in on 9/10. You see what I'm saying? That's all fake. Why is it that they don't even talk about the Pentagon being hit? And to this day, they can't even find The plain parts. This is the only time in history a building has been hit and they can't even find pieces of the damn plane.
You can't look at that building cross-eyed without getting shot.
You see, as a matter of fact, there's a no-fly zone over the damn Pentagon. The agenda for number one is this here. You know how many laws they set up? You know how many laws they set up from the Oklahoma bombing? 1996. It was actually 95. 95. You know how many laws they set up? The whole concept, the reason why they can get you to be on lockdown now is that they got it's an ecology of fear. And basically they can put you in slavery just based on fear. You see, right. So that whole concept, yeah, so there's several laws. As a result, this meeting right now could be branded as a terrorist meeting. Yeah, what's that? Yeah.
Giuliani was saying, right, that say don't try to find out what happened. You ain't supposed to know the truth. Leave that to the cops. You ain't want nobody to know.
Right.
So he was trying to advocate that you go to church. Man.
Right, go to church, yeah. Fear. The whole thing is fear, yeah. The whole concept. You know what's that?
I wanted to ask, wouldn't it be good that Bush would be re-elected? Because like, what I heard Sanetta say, like, if he's re-elected, he could just spark off like some type of revolution with the ignorant people waking up.
It doesn't matter. Either way, they're going to get the same ass whipping with Kerry.
Exactly.
It's going to be jumping from the pot to the frying pan. Same shit. No, the people are so zombified now. They're not going to wake up on shit. They're only going to wake up when the blood is up to their neck. The people are savage now. They're so dead until they're only interested in who give them their Kellogg's cornflakes in the morning. It's all about eating. It's all about survival. The people are at a survival level. They're not that sophisticated to form no revolution for some things going on, because they will try to justify anything this white man does with an excuse. Hell, they doing it now. These people came on TV last week and admitted that we went to war for no reason. And for the mere fact they didn't burn down the country because of that black or white, let you know that it's all form of mind control. These people are nothing but whores.
There you go.
You see? Yeah.
We're seeing that Kerry and Bush are both skull and crossbone brothers.
Right.
Then we are saying that is something to watch automatically. You have to understand what what skull and crossbones is, and then make your determination from that. Two, any forum that's put up for us as something for black people to watch, you have to watch it first before you let your children watch it.
Yeah.
You have to dissect it.
Yeah.
And then give them the information, because the rest of it is camouflage for them.
Right. So yeah. What's that?
I may have came late, but
yeah.
I wanted to know, you were talking about Europeans and Americans.
Yeah.
My experience from going to Europe is a very big difference than Americans. I believe Americans have a certain way of doing things, separating minorities from white Americans. Europeans, for the most part, embrace us, actually, like the culture from the 70s and 80s that I grew up in.
Right.
They embrace
Let me get, no. Let me give you the example. No, he's right.
Hold on, I make a lot of money with them.
Yeah.
Okay. I own my own master recordings. I own my own publishing.
Yeah.
I'm totally solo. Okay. I don't have a company that I have all these employees.
Yeah.
But the fact of the matter is, they do not embrace rap culture. They embrace hip-hop culture and music that is a positive. Of course, there's pop culture where it's
Okay, listen.
But the fact of the matter is that I've noticed, I've worked with Gamble and Huff in the 90s. Philadelphia Sonic.
Yeah.
Great music. I couldn't give them one record with Gamble and Huff.
Right.
I revived Thelma Houston's career to actually re-record in the 90s. Re-record.
Yeah.
She's obviously performing everywhere.
Right, yeah.
But she performs overseas.
And then, all of them are making money over there, but this is the deal. Now, you were right in what you were saying on this particular aspect of them embracing black culture, period. They go crazy over there. They go crazy over in what's called, but this is the deal, what we have to understand. When we talk about black and white, European or whatever, now this is the difference. On your individual level, some of this might not hold water because you might know some Europeans that treat you decent. You understand what I'm saying? You might know a lot of them. This is the difference, what we're talking about here.
Got one more.
When you're talking about on the individual level, people are people in the particular aspect of everybody has whatever they're trying to do with innate or whatever. That's the way the culture is. When we talk about these things, we're not talking about necessarily the individual attitudes towards European. We're talking about the global situation of a power elite.
More like government.
Yeah.
More like government.
I'm saying, no, when you're talking about power elite, that is where we are affected. Now, make no bones about it. They rule the country. They rule the world. And the reason why they're over in Iraq killing babies is because of the power elite, and that is world white supremacy. There's a difference. So yeah, individually that white person can't, you know, ain't no even sense of even storming on somebody who individually can't even affect you. So a lot of times here is when we do it and all, when we think of individual, we get confused because we say, well, you know, we know some white, I know some white folks that treat me decent. But I also try to understand the global culture of the people, the power elite that is involved. You've heard of things like the Illuminati and New World Order. All that is nothing but its new names, 1990 versions, because it started in the 90s, as far as this intelligence and New World Order. That's just a new name for white supremacy, because when it all boils down to it, on a global effect, that's what we're talking about here. Now, as far as entertainment, they have always embraced that. Why? Because the art form of the 20th century that basically gives you modern music is a black art form. Period. Whether you go country or western, ain't nothing but another form of the blues. Whether you deal with any type of thing from it's all nothing but a form of blues and jazz on up into what we have now. So they've always embraced that because that is the standard. Now, they in Europe understand, based on certain prejudice that they don't get here, that they can embrace our talents and our genius a lot better because they are made privy to that more. You see, by not being in an antagonistic element that was designed for us in America, you see, of hatred in the particular aspect they were designed to hate us based on overall government. But what we're talking about here when we say this about European, we're not talking about individuals. That don't mean nothing. Because we're talking about the collective in the particular aspect, because they have a hierarchy that even rules over them on how they're going to ultimately treat you. Right. Like, take for instance, let me give you an example. People was talking about, oh, I'm going to go to, for almost of the 20th century, oh, I'm going to Paris because they treat black people better in Paris. Oh, that held true until they had a major influx of Africans from the mid 70s to the 80s, and all of a sudden racism pops up in little old. Then all of right. Yeah, so hold on, man.
I'm sorry.
You fucking up the sound by getting all happy. All of a sudden the shoe was on the other foot. These so-called abolitionists of France now want to kick all the Africans out of France. See, a lot of times they can embrace your culture because you're not in mass over there.
They already kicked Farrakhan out, right?
You see, I'm just saying, just period. You're not in mass over there. You're just a small group of people in a small community. So ain't no sense in bearing down on you. But when it becomes problematic, like it is in France, then all of a sudden, you got the same racism popping up. You see?
Hold on.
Yeah.
I agree with you that there are racist towards us.
Yeah.
I lived in Cannes, France.
Yeah.
But what I want to say about that is, as here, I'm from the music business.
Yeah.
I don't appreciate all the Africans bootlegging my shit. All right?
Right,
I just
yeah.
don't appreciate it.
Right.
And Asians and all that stuff.
Right, yeah.
Now, me, I have a family. I have to support my family. The Africans that are in Paris, France, country, they're all practically bootleggers. They don't speak the language.
Right.
Some of them, a good portion do speak French.
Yeah.
But what it comes down to is they don't have the education to get a job.
But
by the way, but hold on one more.
But there's only one problem about that though.
That's they're not allowed to get the education because they don't have the monies or whatever.
No, but there's even a greater picture. But see, but check this out. No, hold on. Wait a minute, hold on. 1 minute. But when you say that in context, let me give this, no. Wait a minute, hold on. Yeah. Hold up 1 minute. But you got to say that in context of history. The only reason why they're over there is because the French came in and colonized their country and made it so that some of them can't even speak their own language, so the only way they can communicate is through French, so naturally they're going to go to France. So there's a twofold story. So it's more than just them being seen. You can't look at the pathology and judge the people on the side effect of them bootlegging and these type of things. You gotta look at the cause on why they were over there in the first place. They're over there in the first place based on world colonization. And so here again, we can argue based on the pathologies of the street and all this here, but here again, it has to go back to the global system of why this particular things occur in the first place. Those Africans are over there because they were in their country minding their business. The French went in, killed them up, made certain portions of them to the point where as they had to forget their indigenous language, and the only way they can function is through French, just like the only way we can function is through English. So there's always, so now when the French look at the story, they're going, what the fuck are you over here? That is because the history of the colonization is being omitted. And here goes again, they are seen as the savage. When there's the savage that created the condition. So when we talk about these things here, we're not talking about the individual things that you see as the apparent. There's always a bigger synopsis that's going down that caused these things. And ultimately, that's what we're talking about when we talk about these particular aspects of what is going on in even Europe. Half them European countries are functioning based on raw materials they get out of Africa.
Well, what I say to you is I grew up here in the 70s.
Yeah.
Early 80s, I used to sell angel dust in all these clubs.
Right.
Now, I felt I did not want to work for anybody. I did not want to work for the so-called system because basically I had the bullshit job and I couldn't move up, I couldn't get the education.
Exactly.
So I started eventually sacrificing and basically not having a life to eventually have my own business.
Right, yeah. Right.
What I propose, what I'm saying we eventually have to elevate ourselves. And
wait a minute, no. See, no.
I work for myself.
Brother, I think you're barking up the wrong tree. The majority of the people you're talking about now is a conscious group that's been teaching self-reliance from the beginning. So, I mean, you're going to have to go to somebody else because these people here understand that. We're not talking about that. So what we're talking about this here. These people, see, first of all, I think you're entering into a movement that's been going on for the last 60 years that's been teaching self-reliance. So my point here is it's not like you just came in and gave us a profound insight. No, but what I'm trying to tell you, man, here is this here. You always have to engage historically in the people that you meet. There's a historical thing going on here where everybody here is talking about self-reliance. That's right. We've been talking about self-reliance, but still yet in the aspect of self-reliance, there's certain things that go on globally that you still have to understand. We are not making excuses, but what we're telling you here is, if somebody's killing your children, you got to know what's going on. Like, take for instance, when I first started off, they're in the hospitals, they're shutting down people's kidneys by giving them shots and shutting down black people's kidneys on purpose. Now that's a form of genocide, and they're making millions off of the dialysis. And the Europeans are not going through this. So my point, you're here in this country. So my point here is there is still some things that's on a higher order. 75,000 Africans die a month in Africa off of AIDS, not based on some sexual disease, based on the World Health Organization giving them those AIDS. So what I'm trying to tell you, man, that there is a much more sophisticated and tyrannical society that you live in, and you're thinking about free enterprise, and you don't even understand that there's a global thing that's going on of genocide before you even get to selling some damn records. And that's what we're talking about here. That's what we're saying here. So my point here is this here, in the midst of understanding pathology on how people can function, you cannot omit the type of information that is going on here on how basically there's genocide all across the world on indigenous people. You see, and this is the information we're bringing. We're not bringing the type of information where we're standing on a soapbox talking about how people are wrong us. We're talking about what motherfuckers are doing this just hour.
That's right.
You see what I'm saying? And my point here is we still don't supposed to co-sign on that shit, no matter how much the doggone pathology of black people out here losing their mind. We still have to focus on, as a global thing, on what's going on, because the Europeans are doing it.
That's right.
They're doing it right now.
Hold up. We got to sit and wait.
Yeah.
What do you think about the theory that AIDS is a hoax?
Well, okay, let me explain something. This is my research. This is my research. The initial AIDS program of the 1980s, from 1982 to 1992, was an actual disease manufactured, fostered in through the homosexual community, ultimately to be a biological warfare, for indigenous people. But too often, if you have a sexual disease, it can run rampant, that can kill everybody. What you have now here is not the AIDS virus of the 1980s. What you have now here is a tracking system to give you AZT and other things to kill you and call it AIDS. It's the medicine. It's a beautiful way to do it. The people who don't catch nothing is the ones who don't take the AIDS test, because the AIDS test, the AIDS test is a lottery system. So what it is so they can be safe about it and say, we don't have to have an actual disease out here, because some of our people can tiptoe into the black community if we put the AIDS in the back. They don't have to do it that way no more. They have already introduced AIDS 20 years ago. Now the only thing they have to do is to say, you go and take the test. They go to your church. They tell your ignorant preachers to get everybody to take the test. And like a lottery system, they'll say, this percentage we gonna kill, this percentage we gonna let go, based on whether you are still expedient to them, and this particular percentage we gonna keep for the next round. So they're tracking this thing here based on hospitals, tests, and telling you that you got AIDS.
So what exactly is going on the continent?
On the continent, these particular people, what is going on the continent is this. These particular people, they create a panic. They first put an initial amount of people with the virus. They went in and got tested positive. Then, after they got the people AIDS program to tell the people that they need to have checkups, they didn't have to have AIDS. These people actually go in and they get checkups. Let's say they come down with a cold. They'll tell them they got HIV, and then they start administering the job. So they're systematically killing 75,000 a month, not based on no virus, because they had a group of black people in the late 80s, early 90s that killed the virus.
Right, that's right.
Just based on sickle cell alone, they couldn't do it, because the sickle cell was an attribute on the continent.
Exactly.
So they had to do something different. They said, no, we're just going to systematically kill them. And they did this basically by just basically the World Health Organization, when you go in, they pay people just to get checkups to give them AIDS.
Exactly.
So was that part of the point when they gave
And certain workers, certain missionaries, certain groups of people, like what's that one, the one that was started in the 1960s that all the black people in college go to?
Red Cross.
Not the Red Cross.
Salvation Army.
No, it's no. The one where they go around the world. Peace Corps. The Peace Corps. You see what I'm saying? Those types of things, yeah.
I just wanted to say that white people are white people, whether they're in Europe, America, or Scandinavia. You understand? And they all play different games so that we can be constantly confused. You understand? Communism.
Let me explain something to all you about let me explain something to you about how the global world works. Of course they can come and say we want world peace. They own every goddamn thing. They have gone around the world, colonized the world, and that stuff got the raw materials out, and then the ones who steal the rich and raw material, like South Africa, they are still in. And they own the world. So now you can say, oh, oh, it's about peace and shit. It's a master-slave relationship.
That's right.
We don't own nothing. That's like me calling myself a capitalist without no goddamn capital. You understand what I'm saying? So you got to look at a global aspect of, yes, they can come and say, it's love and peace and all this here, but yet the raw materials, for all the raw materials that is taken out of the indigenous land that is ours, we all supposed to be rich. Yet you got people on the continent, the richest continent on the earth, with oil, bauxite, all this particular raw material, and yet you got people living with famine. You got to understand a global aspect, and we need to get out of our personal things of what we like personally to look at a global aspect on what this thing is doing. It's still white supremacy. You see what I'm saying? And I can't help it because the secret societies that run this shit just so happen to be white. That's reality. You see, that's reality. And the only reason why sometimes we flinch when we hear us talking about white supremacy is because we are trained to flinch.
Yes, sir.
And no matter what kind of pathology that we have, first of all, about this business, first of all, man, there's 40 million of us, and we have millions of businesses. So that's another thing. We have millions of businesses, despite what people think, globally. So this whole concept of self-reliance, we do the same thing. But one of the aspects here is you must understand this particular part. To deny one's culture is one of the reasons why we have this disarray. You see what I'm saying? So this whole assimilation bullshit is crazy. Because believe me, even in the music industry, there's mass racism.
Yep.
You see what I'm saying? You see, so you know, so it's there are these games. But this stuff is run by Europe.
Yes, sir.
You see.
And also, Africa, we were stolen out of Africa. Everything that the white man has, they took from Africa. Our natural resources. You understand? Because any money that you make it to buy food. You understand? You need some place to live. So what's important is land and resources, not paper money, something that the white man made.
It's an illusion. It's an illusion.
You understand? And we're the true people. And anytime black people, Africans stand up and say, I'm an African, as opposed to saying, I'm Spanish.
Huh?
That's right.
When they stand up and say they're African, they get bullets
all right,
in their
cool.
head. Because nobody wants the black man in this country. In all I want to go back to 8.
Okay, yeah.
And claim who they are and
You gonna pass the hat or what?
Yeah, I'm gonna do that right now. White man too. I mean, it's like an insult to say he's gonna give me something. What can you
Yeah.
Can't give me nothing.
You gonna give me stuff that you took from me? You understand? You a thief, and everybody gotta know the white man is a thief. He's a thief. You understand?
So I got to give him X amount. You see what I'm saying? So that's what I'm saying.
If you right, I'm tight.
Email me. Support this brother.
But I'm saying you only got 6 because this is not my product. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, I'll do your website though.
I got a website.
What's it called? What's it called then?
It's called SeriousTimes.com.
All right, yo, finish it up.
Right.
Of death. AIDS is a complete hoax, according to my research.
Yeah.
They have not photographed that HIV virus. They have not isolated that HIV virus. The picture that they have of that HIV virus is a facsimile, meaning it's a drawing that the scientists think is the best composite that they can come up as far as the HIV virus is concerned. Not one single person that so-called has died of the so-called HIV AIDS thing all over the world. When they die, there's not one speck of HIV virus in their body all over the world. But the thing is that we are still dying from this hoax every day. Why? Because they're giving you AZT. AZT is a chemotherapy drug that they had to shelve because it was killing the cancer patients faster than the cancer was.
Right.
So they put it up on the shelf and say, and it sat there for years. And they said, well, what are we going to do with all this AZT? What they do, they come up with a disease to package that AZT. Why are they giving you a chemotherapy? Why are they giving you Ritalin and Prozac? And
yes, it's all hope. Most people are sick now, the ones who go to the hospital.
You don't die until you take the medication.
Yeah, what's that?
When I take a look at some of the documents that Europeans have done on African culture and on the continent of Africa, I see that they show us practicing certain things that I might look at as strange or I might not think is, you know, what we're doing. Like for instance, certain sometimes they show people doing all types of piercings and the things are on the neck and and you know they tell us stories that, you know, he has his bone on his neck because he hunted his neighbor African, killed him, and that's his bone. He ate his heart and all of this.
Right.
Okay, if that stuff is true, what they're telling us about us, what we do, what we did, where did we get that from?
Those are extreme cases that is exacerbated.
Like, what I'm saying
most of the magical systems are much more scientific. You're just talking about those things in general?
Where did we get that from? I mean, does that stuff occur? I mean, this is what they
let's put it this way. You got to understand one thing. Some of those things that they say might happen, you must understand something about Africa. We just didn't exist about 2 days and then that's it. We're talking millions of years. Now, out of millions of years, you can have any kind of thing that can occur. And whether it be extreme or not, that's just in human history. You're going to have millions
of... What I'm saying is, where do we get this from? Like, what, you know, because I wouldn't look at that like...
My point, first of all, man, look.
Where do we get those practices from? Like, where does that, you know?
Everything that you think is not supposed to be Sunday school. Because something does not fit the criteria of what you call good and beautiful. Don't necessarily mean it's bad.
Okay, I understand.
You understand what I'm saying? It doesn't necessarily mean it's bad. You see, we know that, man, because half the things we do now can be considered an atrocity 30 years ago with us. Hell, eating pussy was bad to black people in the fucking 70s.
That's true.
And eating pussy was an African science. Some niggas still think it is. If eating pussy was an African science that we lost. And when we saw the white boy doing it, we didn't understand the history that the British took over India in the 19th century colonization, and they got the Kama Sutra. And from the Kama Sutra, they started eating pussy, which is the African thing of cunnilingus. They got it on the temple walls. And when we saw it, we thinking it's a white man shit.
Tantric yoga.
Yeah. Sexual, you know. Right, so my point here is, there's several things like that. It just depends on what you think is this. See, we got to get out of this whole righteous shit. And this righteous and morals and all this type of thing here. I mean, I'm just saying, you know, maybe there might be one or two little things that they show that's extreme or whatever and stuff like that. But my point here is, who's to say that it's bad? You see what I'm saying? And who's to say that bad shouldn't be a form of good? You see what I'm saying? This depends on what time you do it. You have to elevate your mind beyond certain boundaries that were set for you based on society and taboos. You see what I'm saying? Taboos and different things like that. You know, right now, you got any motherfucking disease you want, you can cure by eating menstrual blood. But you wouldn't do that because you was taught that was nasty. Right now, you can take a menstrual blood to kill any motherfucking shit on this planet. Depends on the time you eat it. But that's an African science. But you think that's nasty. See what I'm saying? You know, you think that's nasty. You know, just depends on your concept of things.
Is that for the average guy to do that?
Huh?
Is that for the average guy to do that?
It's for the people who know the science on it.
That's what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
So if someone don't have the science, it can fuck them up.
No, not necessarily.
Okay.
Not necessarily. You know, no more than motherfuckers eat pig blood and hog blood and it don't fuck them up.
Bobby, did you deal with post-traumatic slave syndrome already?
Right.
Parts of it, yeah.
Okay. Now, what I want you to do is go into what connection the so-called Jew and Pastor Jew have with slavery. Put that on. Hook that up.
Well, first of all, the whole concept of Jews being discriminated against based on white supremacy organizations is a hoax, because the Ku Klux Klan was started by the South Carolina Anti-Defamation League and Albert Pike, which is Jewish. So the white supremacy organization is Jewish fundamentally. You see what I'm saying? So discrimination mostly is a Jewish phenomenon.
trust them people, man.
You see? You see, so that whole concept here, just Hollywood alone, looking at how you can dehumanize a people to the point that it's effective to this day.
Purpose of a nation.
You see, so yeah, well, the hell, they're the main culprits behind it. You see, and what happened was with the Anti-Defamation League, why they started the Ku Klux Klan, it started before that. They fought against slavery because they were Jewish landowners. But even afterwards, with Reconstruction and different things like that, they wanted to control black people. They started the Ku Klux Klan. You see what I'm saying? There's a book on that, Ku Klux Klan and ADL, Ugly History. And yeah, I got a whole tape called The History of the Ku Klux Klan that deals with a lot of that stuff. Yeah. Yeah, what's that? Hotep, brother.
All right. I want you to talk about, like, what I've seen now so far, especially in Harlem, you find a lot of brothers now perming their hair and wearing styles of women and children now. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
What do you think?
Well, we talked about
Sisters perming their hair.
Well, yeah, well, naturally. But we talked about that. A lot of this is coming from the subliminal aspect of what they see on TV, behind the TV, and in the music. A lot of this stuff is subliminal. It's on the subliminal aspect as well as the cultural aspect of doing that. We just in the bed with the beast.
But I mean, conking was done way before. Now I'm seeing brothers now actually in the salons getting hairstyles.
Yeah. I would say that all of that is a part of the programming. You see what I'm saying? The programming to get this asexual culture. That's right. You see, it's called metrosexual. Yeah. You're not all the way gay, you're not all the way masculine. It's called metrosexual.
And got this androgynous look.
Yeah. And so the whole Hollywood culture and the new culture for America is called metrosexual, and so naturally they're going to train our children and most of the people into the metrosexual life, which means that you fuse both sexes in. But it's, it's never from a spiritual level of you embracing the feminine concept, which we're supposed to do. We're talking about a physical level, mainly where sex is involved and stuff like that, Yeah,
I got like 3 questions for you, but first, I just wanted to let you know I appreciate your documentary that you did on Egyptian Dream. I looked at it probably like 50 million times. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And I really did the knowledge what you were saying. I got 3 questions. The first question is, I want to know, since this administration is having a pessimistic perception of Saddam Hussein, and they're having a pessimistic perception of the people in Haiti and all of that, why they not having a pessimistic perception of the slavery that's going on in the Sudan? That's the first question.
Yeah. Well, Saddam Hussein and all that is working for them. That's all contrived. Sudan works for them for the simple doggone fact that they have never been on the side of Africans in the whole 9 yards. They've never been on the side of Africans. Hell, if they killing 75,000 a month, then it stands the reason that they're not going to help the people in the Sudan, because that's their job, to kill 75,000 a month and call it AIDS. You see what I'm saying? So we know that anything they do, they're not in Haiti because they're for freedom. Remember now, a country who has never been about freedom can never give freedom. That's the Mayatean law. You can't spread freedom, they ain't never had no freedom. You see what I'm saying? Isn't it funny how British in America always talk about freedom and they are slave masters and colonizers? They just celebrated the birthday of Normandy, how the Allies stormed down. It was a great day for freedom in 1944. They just did a whole thing on Normandy invasion. When they was talking about freedom and ally and all that stuff, Britain had in slavery at the same time they talk about freedom. Britain had under its banner in slavery the whole known world. Wow. So freedom for them is different than freedom for indigenous people.
Break it down.
That's real.
All your colonies in Africa wasn't even decolonized when Britain was talking about a great day for freedom for them. That's right. India, China, they just got out of China in 1998. That's right. They still in South Africa. They still in doggone South America. They are still in Australia, New Zealand. So that whole concept is never that way. So yeah, that's one. Yeah.
All right, thank you. All right.
And other darker ones and darker haired groups. But based on what the Egyptians and other texts say, they were created.
By Yakub.
Well, the Yakub is a code word. You see what I'm saying? It's a priesthood based on gene splicing. Just like they do cloning now, they had all that type of technology. Gene splicing, half human, half animal, half ape, half pig, a combination of experiments. Go get your movie, Island of Dr. Moreau. It's one of the best movies.
Quest for Fire.
Huh? Quest for Fire, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Which animals? Just one animal? Several animals?
It was several animals. Several animals. The ape, some of everything. Some of pig, you know, several things. With a little bit of DNA from human genes, from our genes too. Because that's how you get the arm, the leg, the head, and a human body. But it's several things. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah.
We understand the ignorance of black people.
Yeah.
As far as how you feel about certain aspects. But what we want to do is to get a format to get out of the ignorance. Now, do we have a method?
You about the masses?
Absolutely.
Man, hang it up. Ain't no format of getting out of shit. You know the format? Annihilation. It's the ultimate aspect of this thing. You see what I'm saying?
So do we have something for the smaller masses to learn and deal with?
That's what we're doing right now. That's that intelligentsia that we're dealing with right now. You see, yeah.
African avatars.
Huh?
Black avatars born amongst us. You see that coming up?
That's what's happening. It's coming from the molecular structure. That's what's going on as we speak right now. Not only am I avatar for teaching you, you are avatar for listening. It's in you. It's in the genetic aspect. That's what we was talking about, this evolutionary phase that is going on. That's what's going down. What's that? Yeah, he had first. Yeah.
Brother, you mentioned something about water.
Yeah.
Bobby, would you say that 2/3 of the water system in America is fluoridated? Or that's a roundabout figure?
Yeah, I would say that. But I would say with steam distilled water, a water that you can put a spin on it. They're talking about this as far as water technology. Your body is already transmutating every day. So the thing about it is, if you ain't just directly drinking the sink water, you pretty much your body is designed to transmutate what you put in if it's halfway decent. You understand what I'm saying? If it's halfway decent, because we're not talking about the same body of 1999. We're transmutating daily on a molecular structure.
So with that, would the water that has been put through a reverse osmosis, that water, would you say that water is okay to drink, or distilled water?
Mostly distilled water.
Okay, but the reverse osmosis, what do you think about the reverse osmosis process? For example, Dasani water, that water.
What do you get?
Dasani.
I'm saying, do you drink that?
I do.
I found out that any of that stuff that's pretty much like the reverse they're talking about, that is your body is going to be able to use it.
Okay, because I heard two different analogies.
Yeah.
From a sister named Mona
Harrison, yeah.
She said one thing about reverse osmosis, and I'm getting another spin on it. She's just simply saying that the reverse osmosis water may not communicate with your body chemistry as much. So
for the masses, yeah, but for the conscious, you are already accelerating with the rise of the Kundalini energy. You're already accelerating at a level that it's going to transform what you need, the vessel. For the masses, yes. But for the people with the, and everybody here is Kundalini and pineal gland is at a certain level, or you wouldn't be listening to this shit.
That's right.
So for the mere fact you got that going on, it's all, you pretty much can transmutate anything that enters and stuff like that. You know, yeah, okay.
All right. Now I wanted to ask you this. From my understanding of my research.
Yeah.
Like earlier when the brother asked you about like initiations and then like secret orders and stuff like that. Now, my understanding is as high as they go is 33 in the third degree.
Yeah.
Which is 1/3 of 360 degrees.
Yeah.
My question is, if that's so, how did they trick the black man, and how did they manipulate us, and how?
No. They.
I just want to finish my question.
Yeah.
Because it's crazy that we 40 million deep, and that these crackers they the minority, and how they so organized, their infrastructure and they so dysfunctional and disenfranchised. It's like, how did we get like that? And we dealing with 360 degrees, and they only dealing with 33.
No. Okay. You got to understand general history. This earth plane that we live on, change is supreme. Whether it's change of acceleration or degeneration. What we don't understand is we think that we were in Africa or we were indigenous people for about 2 years and then we fell. We ruled for millions of years. We didn't fall. We deteriorated as an intermission. Ain't nobody tricked nothing. You see what I'm saying? Nobody didn't topple us from the throne. When the European came into existence, we were already in our senile period.
That's right.
You see what I'm saying? Everything down here has to have a series of a cycle of deterioration, regeneration. That's the earth plane. And humans do the same thing. Based on the cycle of the sun and the cycle of the cosmos, and for ruling for millions of years.
This is halftime.
Ruling for millions of years. We didn't fall. It deteriorated. You just got to know history, because most of us still get our history from a biblical history of 3,000 years. We got goddamn pottery older than 3,000 years. You see? So my point here is, we ruled for millions of years. There wasn't no single thing that toppled. The European is only at this level because we gave him this particular instrument, because we were supposed to give it to him. Now, why do I say that? We knew on the temple walls in China, we knew at the Hermetic materials, we got several materials, we knew we was going to go into slavery, we knew we was going to deteriorate, we knew all of that. When we got into slavery, if we didn't preserve the knowledge through somebody, when we came out of the, there wouldn't be no knowledge for us to get. So in so many words, we were advanced to oversee this, even by using them. You see what I'm saying? So as a result, they cultivated the information we give them. They use it for themselves. As of them using for themselves, they do good by the information. So therefore, they put it in books, and we are able to go and retrieve the information and return it back to ours. You got to look at a bigger picture. We always look at shit from a traumatic aspect of how we are wounded. And we can't think beyond our own personal wounds to try to look at a bigger picture on how this shit is. So we say, how did we fall? We don't know history. We didn't fall. We ruled for millions of years. Millions. Hell, the Egyptians plotted the goddamn stars for 40,000 years and didn't even tell nobody. Now, this is only 200 years old and it's on the decline.
He talks about the New World Order. His New World Order started 6,000 years ago. It's almost over.
You know, his New World Order didn't even that's some what you call it. It didn't start 6,000 years ago. The white man was a caveman.
That's right. No, well, true. But when he came out,
even when he came out and stuff, Remember now, they didn't even rule Africa till the late 1800s, man. Wait a minute, hold on. You got to get out of the emotional shit and you got to listen to history. Africa didn't even fall until the late 1800s. Come on, man, you gotta read history. Don't be going by quotes that you done heard some shit that we did when we didn't have no knowledge. Africa didn't even fall until the late 1800s. You see what I'm saying? You know, so that whole concept, you gotta look at a global aspect of that type thing. 6,000 years ago, hell, we was on top.